Yeah. Yeah, they have videos of Krishan Rock playing football. And she's nice at it. Oh, Jesus. Man, what's going on with the Lakers? They like fired everyone and then they hired some nobody?
They hired someone? I knew they fired Darvin Ham and all of them. I didn't know they hired a new coach.
Or they're looking at maybe I'm just trying to looking to hire somebody. And obviously, when I say nobody, I don't mean disrespect. I just mean somebody that like doesn't have a lot of accomplishments under his belt. Okay. Um, would I have to switch the names up, Ace?
What are you referring to?
The fact that if you don't switch your oh, oh stupid. Oh, sorry. Oh, that's getting set up. Okay, as far as audio, how do you sound goes?
Test, 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 test.
All right, that sounds appropriate. Did you get your situation, audio situation sorted out, Ace?
Yep, should be good, I think. Testing. How does it sound? Does it sound
Sound
okay?
sounds okay. You're still a bit loud. Um, so yeah, back it up. And then how do I sound? Do I sound all right? Is the volume acceptable and is it clear enough?
Yeah.
Yep, sounds good.
What?
Dog. You in the
what, are you,
underground bunker or
what are you
something,
on?
my
The
guy?
McDonald's, the local McDonald's Wi-Fi tonight? What's going on here?
What happened?
Dog, I don't know what you got going on
Both
with your
your
Wi-Fi, but
audio and video quality are suspect. That's what's
like
happening.
eight pixels when your videos was kicking in. It's a little better now, but like say something because I felt like your audio was cutting out too.
Check, check, check. How does my audio sound?
That
Yeah, you got
delay
Is
is
it off?
yeah, you got
nah,
a
nah,
lag going
nah, nah,
on. The audio's messed
nah,
up.
bro.
You look suspect. Like you know something's going on. Like what's going on?
All right. Let me.
Yeah, yeah. No.
This ninja.
Like he's on dial-up connections.
like, like it's clear he's using the local Taco Bell Wi-Fi. It's like obvious. It's all good. I think he just needs to reboot his stuff.
Discord slows my computer down so much. What the? This is. I have literally no other apps open. I think it's the monitor.
Lord have mercy.
Maybe not. And I'm talking shit. I might have to restart my Discord because
It's a bevy. You know,
your
when I actually-
video is lagging for me. I don't know why.
Really. And when I ask you guys, are you ready? Like you
I
can say
wasn't
no.
ready. It wasn't doing this literally the past half hour. But just now. Let me jump out and back in.
The agonies of podcast setups. Everyone out there that's doing their own podcast or does audio, I know you can empathize with this situation. Although we are very like grassroots, so we might not be doing it the most optimal way in this day and age. Wait, oops. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, I don't want to do that. Oh, nice. He's back.
Can you guys hear me?
Correct.
Yep.
Can you hear us?
Yep.
Okay. Get you straight? I guess he's still working on it. Okay. Although now my thing is kind of jacked up too. Dang, do I gotta get out too? Not just to follow along.
I think it's Discord because this doesn't even make sense.
Discord's bugging. Does my thing look like yo?
Yeah, I quit because your video was lagging and I thought it was just me, but it's still lagging, so I might.
Okay. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
now
I guess.
I'm noticing it too. So, give me 1 second.
Yeah, yours was fine before though.
Yeah, this is Discord's doing something.
Dang, I'm about to have a shitty podcast. We'll see. Why does it do that? Sorry. Okay. Looks fine for the time being. Let's just start and pray for the best. Alright, so get rid of this. Get rid of this. Get rid of. Yeah, okay. Hopefully this looks good. Yeah. At least that's fine. And I guess you could check the YouTube when you get a second. This still looks a little off.
Yeah, I guess your audio's fine. It's just the video was lagging.
It was good though. And there's no drop frames. I don't know.
You might have to ditch Discord because not tonight, obviously, but this ain't gonna work.
We'll let it rock for now, and if it gets worse, then we can shift. Anyway, I want to be here all night. gotta have a cup of tea on you at all times. Without further delay. Welcome back, guys. Welcome back, everyone, to the Be Warmed and Be Filled podcast. Welcome back. We're back, and we have not everyone here, but we do have some of the guys, the crew, the brothers. We got Ace.
What's up?
We got Ghost.
Yo.
And we got myself, Questlando. Guys, how y'all doing? How y'all feeling?
Pretty good.
Decent.
And I'm feeling not too bad myself. Although I say that, but I am currently dealing with, a bit of allergies. So my apologies to y'all and to the audience. I want to not talk too much, but I feel as if the first topic in particular is going to warrant some conversation. So we'll see how that goes. And maybe I don't look my best, but I never looked that great anyway. So you know how that go. But anyway, just to get some of the podcast intro stuff out the way. So one thing that we like to do here on this podcast is we like to provide y'all with some new music of the week, some new songs of the week. If you're looking for some new artists or a new record, check out the Spotify playlist in our description below, where we have our song selection of the week. A bunch of new songs that we found recently that we think it would be worth recommending. Also in the description below, once we're done with the podcast and we edit it a bit, you'll be able to find the timestamps. If you just want to jump around to specific topics, you don't want to sit around and listen to everything, we provide a timestamp below. And if you prefer to just watch shorter versions of the content, I would implore you guys to go to the video tab in our channel, where you can find the broken down topic discussion videos for our podcast. But before we actually jump into the topics, another thing we like to do here is topic recommendations outside of music, of course. Let's hear what y'all got, and I'll start this time. I actually started a new anime recently. Some of y'all might be familiar with it already. Undead Unlock. The fact that I'm even recommending it lets you know it's already dope, so I don't gotta guess it too much. But yeah, super dope series that's been around for a while. I'm not sure how new. I believe the anime is roughly this year or last year, but the manga series has been running for a while. And it's one of those series that whenever I go check the Viz Shonen Jump manga series that are currently active, it's always there. And I always had some vague interest into it. I'm just trying to think why specifically now bumped into the anime. I think it just must have been I saw a clip of one of the scenes, and I just felt compelled to check it out, and it was definitely worth it. I know spoiler culture is what it is, but just so brief, because nothing too insane. It has a lot of the typical Shonen Jump tropes, but you have worlds in which some people possess powers, and we follow our main protags, somebody that has the abilities to not die, immortal basically, and a young girl who has the abilities to, how would you describe it? Whoever they touch will be unlucky. So yeah. One spoiler-ish thing I will say, I don't care, get off my back. Just a heads up, there is a part of the series where one of the main guys does fight butt ass for some period, so just heads up for that. But it is definitely humorous and definitely a dope series. So if you're looking for something to watch, check it out. And salute to me, because I watched it. Well, I think there might be an episode left or two, but I don't binge. I didn't binge this, but I definitely understand why people do, because sometimes you'll be watching series and you just gotta know what happens next. So I definitely get it. But yeah.
How far into the series is it?
Oh yeah, there's only one season.
Wise.
There's only currently one season out. It's 24 episodes, I believe, and I think I'm at 23. I'm almost done this season, but it's been good since the beginning. Okay. If there are no other content recommendations this week, let's get right into the topics.
I have a couple. I forgot. Sorry.
Perfect time. You realize you wanted to wait till I was transitioning to the next thing. I like it.
I actually thought you were gonna recommend something else. My fault. Couple concerts. I went to one of them with Ace a couple weeks back. I saw Lorraine again, and if y'all remember, I've seen them a couple months ago, and it was one of the best shows I've ever been to. And these newer shows that I went to were also excellent. They weren't as great just because I kind of knew the set list already, and I didn't have the benefit of coming in blind and not knowing what to expect. But still highly recommend going to see him live. Both. I actually went to concerts back to back. It was a Saturday night and a Sunday night, and it was very much enjoyable both times. So I would definitely recommend seeing them live. And one other recommendation I have is for a movie. I saw that new Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes,
Jesus Christ.
and I wasn't really planning on seeing it, but I've seen the first two of the recent trilogy, and they were both very good. I haven't seen the third one, sadly, and I just thought, why not? I check out this new one. It's kind of like a reboot or a time skip, however you want to, whatever you want to call it. But I really liked it, more than I thought I would. It sets itself up well for the subsequent movies. I don't know if it's going to be another trilogy. It probably is. But I like the world building in particular, like the characters. Had a nice take on a post-apocalyptic setting, which I think this one of y'all like hates that. So I guess give you a heads up about that. But I think it's Ace. Yeah, you don't like post-apocalyptic
You guys
settings.
get this wrong. You guys get this wrong. I don't like dystopias.
Okay,
Post-apocalyptic and
okay.
dystopia are different.
Got you. Okay. So I think in that case,
I'll probably like.
there are some
That's
dystopian
that's
elements,
debatable,
but
but this is not the time to get into it, I suppose.
yeah,
Maybe it's
it's but it's a very good movie. I won't say anything about it. Just that expect it's more of an adventure movie than an action movie. I'll say that, but I really did enjoy it. I didn't think I would dislike it, but I liked it more than I thought it would.
fair enough. Fair enough. When I asked, is there anything else? I'm pretty sure that's the time.
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. Then if there is nothing else, we'll jump into the topics. Okay, let me go here first. Let me pull up this. Hopefully the names are in the right order. Yes, they are. Nice. So there's no way we could not come back and talk about it a bit. Man, the Great Hip Hop War 2024. Man, it's been a wild back and forth. By the time we're recording, mid-May, it does seem like effectively things are over. You know, some people are holding out that there will be more, but I think you can pretty much say it was what it is. Like nothing needs to go on forever. But and while it in the beginning and kind of, I mean throughout it, there was like a lot of people putting their input. Some people were redacting some things. I think, this effectively boiled down to a Drake versus Kendrick beef, and man, a battle it was. Some people say it's like the greatest hip hop battle back and forth, whatever you want to call it, of all time. It's super up there, and I think some of these verses are equally like you could put them up there for like the greatest of all time. Which even though some people are quick to say no, this you're just looking at it as like a you know, the hype bias, or this is just you're saying this because it recently came out. I think there's nothing wrong with like they're coming out better beef records or diss records than old records. Like I know like no matter what happens, like getting ethered is always going to be a thing, and that's why I put ether up there so high. But like a world in which there's a better diss record than ether isn't a bad thing, or a better diss record than Takeover or No Vaseline or Hit 'Em Up, which is personally one of my favorite ones. But all that aside, we want to come in here and give a relatively full breakdown. Obviously, there's a lot of breakdowns out there of the timeline, starting back from like a decade ago. We just want to focus on the more modern, not interpretation, but timeline of events that led to the beef, the records, the back and forth, and give our takes or give our final. I mean, unless a whole nother, a whole nother back and forth thoughts, but our final takes on this event, this momentous momentous occasion in hip hop. So, without further ado, we drafted up this nice timeline. I know last time we talked about it. Was it last time? One of the last times we talked about it, we were kind of putting together the whole PowerPoint presentation. And although I liked it, I kind of think our timeline, now that everything's like laid out, is more than sufficient for this entire thing. So we're starting. Yes, again, I already gave the disclaimer. So we're starting with first person shooter. Man, this was such a dope record on Drake's For All the Dogs album. You know, ironically, this wasn't a diss record. Cole and Drake were just very much like, you know, acknowledging that, you know, they are the biggest, and also they acknowledge the big three aspect and putting Kendrick up there too. And it was just like a dope record of hip hop. Nobody really thought too much of it. It was just big. It was dope, and everyone went out about their lives. But Kendrick and some other people didn't feel the same way. March 22nd. I forget if the record came out exactly with the album, but Like That off of Metro Boomin and Future's album We Don't Trust You came out, in which Kendrick Lamar responds to first person shooter and basically rejected that big three nonsense and say, ain't no big three, it's just big me. And that's what really kind of kicked it off for everybody to be like, oh no, people got to respond now. Man. And I'll you know, I'll even, you know, not that there's gonna be walkbacks from us or me, but I don't know, maybe you can call this a walkback. At the time, I was looking at that when that record first came out. I was like, why is Kendrick doing this? Like, this is like you're kind of clout chasey. Like, why are you like Cole and Drake were effectively giving you props, and you're coming out and kind of dissing that? Like, I was low key anti Kendrick at this time, but now that we see the full list of events that spiraled. Hey man, it is what it is. So again, like I said, this really did boil down to just being Kendrick versus Drake, but I had to also include J. Cole's brief how would you say, his brief he had a brief time in the battle. So if you recall, on April 5th, he dropped an album, Might Delete Later, and specifically the record 7-Minute Drill. Ironically, he actually did end up deleting it later because within a couple of days, he retracted the diss record, apologized to Kendrick at a Dreamville festival, and then he went on to even remove the diss record off of streaming platforms. Man, this was a sad day if you enjoy Cole, because this could have been, for the first time ever, I don't know if it's the first time ever, a three-way, the biggest rappers of the generation going back at it. And obviously the way it was framed, it could have been more of like a Drake and Cole versus Kendrick and basically everybody else in the hip hop. But I think in my fan fiction, I imagine a world in which they're all dissing each other, and it's dope record after dope records. We don't know who's coming, but Cole didn't want parts of that. If you recall, he went on stage and he apologized. Like I said, he apologized to Cole. He said the things that he said in his 7-Minute Drill record, he didn't sit well with them. He knew he didn't truly mean what he said, and he retracted it. And after, everything is said and done, a lot of especially once some of these allegations and some of these diss records started to come out, the consensus was pretty much like, yeah, it was good on Cole to actually bow out because this beef really got nasty. I guess that's where I can start off asking you guys, so I don't have to just ramble on for however many minutes. Looking back at everything, do y'all think it was a quote unquote smart decision for Cole to get out of the beef, or would y'all have liked to see him continue on as well? What do you think, Ace?
I would have liked to, like, in an ideal world, just like you said, a three-way beef with tracks going back and forth between artists would have been dope. But Cole made it very clear that his heart was not in trying to beef with them. So based on his heart not being in it, I don't want to see anybody doing like faking it and trying to, do something that they're not really into. So I think what happened was ultimately he made the right decision for where he's at this point.
Got you, got you. And then what do you think, girls? You think it was a good decision, or do you think Cole should have just manned? I don't want to say manned. Oh, for the sake, there's a beef we're talking about. He should have manned up and stuck with it.
I do think it was a good decision. At the time, I wasn't even really mad that he took it back. I was mostly just disappointed, and I didn't know how he was going to be able to recover from dissing a week diss at that, dissing Kendrick, and then taking it back 2 days later.
I wasn't really diss, but
Yeah, it was barely a diss. But with, again, like you kind of mentioned, with everything that's come out and the animosity and the true beef that specifically Kendrick had with Drake, I think that's really more what it was. I think that it was definitely a good decision, and I am happy that he did stay out of it. In an ideal world, he wouldn't even have dropped 7 minute drill, but that is what neither here
yeah,
nor there.
that's right.
But outside of that, it's like if he would have kind of had to default take Drake's side, just given how everything went down, and he's not gonna roast Kendrick, diss Kendrick, and he, unlike Drake, he didn't really have anything to diss him about. So it's like I'm happy he stayed out of it.
Well,
So
we don't know, but
we don't, but we can. It's implied that he doesn't really have beef with him. But if he had gotten involved, I think it would have just kind of ended up being awkward. Because imagine Kendrick dropping "Meet the Grams" and he took a couple of shots at Cole in that, and it's like you're kind of just interposing yourself in the beef between the other two main parties who really got problems with each other. So I'm happy he stayed out of it, and I think he did make the right decision, even though he should not have even dropped anything in the first place.
I actually tend to agree with you, just in the sense that, like, when we first heard the "Like That" verse, it seemed like he was kind of, or he was definitely rejecting, and it seemed like he was kind of pushing back on, or kind of taking shots at both of them. But now that we see what it spiraled into, it kind of seems like it was him shooting back at Drake, and then Cole was like also just on the record, and Cole, I think specifically said the big three line, so that's why he was rejecting it. But yeah, I could have imagined, like, if Cole did stick with this, maybe it would have been just more of like, unless Cole really does got some like business out there, maybe it would have been like, hey Cole, you're sticking by this guy who I'm calling a pedophile and an addict, and like what's going? And then maybe he starts like saying, is all the Dreamville N words like moving like this, like. So yeah, that's how I can imagine that's going. Yeah, and again, I just didn't like the fact that, like, I guess you're double right. 'Cause if you're gonna put out a diss record, you like, this is probably the first time somebody's put out a diss record, and people are like, I think, Jay-Z and Nas have in later years said, hey, I didn't really, mean some of these things, or I didn't really, but like, I think the speed at which he retracted it, and the fact that like he literally just pulled it, which you couldn't do that back in the day, but it's a very awkward thing, and I think if Cole were to ever, like, and he's not to get into beef every year type of artist, but if he were to ever get into any type of friction with any other artist, I think people would look at him like, ain't you the guy that retracted your other diss records? So we don't want you talking tough anytime soon. So yeah, I think the perception of Cole has changed a little, but I think, again, in the grand scheme of things, people have shifted their opinion to, hey, we get it. It got messy, and you don't need to be a part of that. So then, on April 13th, and it's good that we have the dates because it kind of shows you the timeline, because if you guys recall, and like with all beefs, one of the things that people think about is the timeline in which people respond. Like, the biggest thing people kept saying is, this guy's on the clock. And it was looking a little kind of shaky for Drake because Cole put out a record and then he retracted it, and everyone just wanted to know what Drake thought. And he finally spoke up and he dropped Push Ups. And I'm gonna be honest, we all know that Drake has been in beats before, and he has put out diss records, and he has did not a bad job against some pretty formidable artists. But yeah, this was definitely a dope showcasing. I think he came out. It wasn't all directly towards Kendrick. He shot shots at a lot of the artists that seemed like they had some smoke with him. So that's was one critique I heard. But for the most part, I think this was like, I think it was just good. I think there was really no complaints, and it put Kendrick back on the clock, which I said it before, and I'll say it one more time. Before this, Kendrick was just known as, not just known, I know it's a wild statement, but Kendrick was more so known for the fact that we just know he can rap. We just know he can create some of the most dope music ever. We know he can rap on like a bevy of different beats. We know he can do like a bunch of different styles. We know he's like one of the most top tier lyrical like artists probably that we'll ever see. But we've never seen him in a quote unquote battle. Mainly because why would you attack Kendrick anyway? But it just hasn't happened. So I strongly believe before this there was nothing that confirmed that in a hip hop beef where you do have to get a little disrespectful, that Kendrick was made for this. Obviously, now we know that's the dumbest assumption or dumbest thought process ever. But before then, when Drake had put this and Kendrick was on the clock, that was a perception. But anyway, a few days after that, April 19th, before Kendrick even responded, Drake put out another record, quote unquote, with Taylor Made. And this record got a decent level of scrutiny because even though he did rap on it, even though he did address some things, ultimately speaking, it got a lot of criticism for he decided to use a AI Tupac and an AI Snoop Dogg. And not only did fans not really rock with it, apparently the Tupac estate didn't rock with it, and he ended up having to pull that. So again, this is just one of the first beefs in history where like there's just people are constantly pulling records back for one reason or another. It's very strange. And then at the end of April, Euphoria. Kendrick releases Euphoria. And this one. Ooh. And again, we've all heard these records and it's been spoke about, so that's why I don't have a bunch to say. I just kind of want to go through this timeline, get a couple comments in. But yeah, Kendrick responded. All that hate that was coming Kendrick's way, all the he's on the clock, all this maybe Kendrick getting built for this, it quickly dissipated. Kendrick released one of the best records, diss records of all time. He attacked Drake in a lot of ways that people have mentioned before, but the way Kendrick delivered it definitely hit. And yeah, and then he followed up with Drake's damn near very same tactic. Before Drake released again, he drops 616. I believe it was actually the full record called like 16 in LA, something like that.
Yep.
But yeah, and where he just kind of continued the dirt throwing on Drake, besmirching Drake's name, and really keeping his foot on Drake's neck, which I always applaud. Like that was one of the themes in this battle, this war is. And this, if you don't know, now you know. Whenever you're going back and forth with somebody, whenever you're at war with somebody you don't like, keep your foot on their neck. Don't let them breathe. Don't let them respond. Keep your foot on their neck. But yeah, definitely Kendrick. Like this is when we knew. I think it was just at this point everybody was like, okay, we got a full battle on our hands. and like it could go either way. I think that was the perception. And then right in the same time frame, we gotta give it to Drake. Drake released Family Matters, and this record, um, and I guess I'll save it. I'll wait till the end to ask all y'all favorite records, but just speaking for me, this was one of my favorite records of the battle. Like, again, it was more of Drake also addressing like not just Kendrick. He responded to Ross in it. He responded to Rocky in it. I don't know if you guys took issue with that, but I didn't. I don't take issue with that. And he responded to Weekend too, and Metro. Um, I think he had multiple beat switch ups. It was 7 minutes of relatively consistent rapping. I think he had the music video where he crushed the van that the van looked like from Good Kid, Mad City cover. This was like a very well thought out move. So man, and the fact that he was able to respond that quickly, even though obviously he had it in the tuck and he was just waiting. But yeah, I think Family Matters was super well done. But before we even got to really enjoy it and take it in, Kendrick released Meet the Grams. And no, and this is why this was so iconic. I'm never gonna forget this. I know exactly where I was. I was I was right there at my desk, just kind of listening, just kind of taking it all in, keeping on my own social media. We're all like enjoying the Drake the Drake Family Matters record. Academics have been streaming and who's been televising this whole thing, this whole back and forth to the world. Kendrick came in and he said, "I'm that thing you just put out. That's cute, but I got my records." He stepped on Drake's spotlight and released "Meet the Grams." Like it says here, dropping literally 20 minutes after Drake released "Family Matters." So even though we're all trying to still get the rap genius annotations in on Family Matters, Kendrick came in and we forget the Drake shit. We gotta review Kendrick's first now. And well, I said Drake's Family Matters was one of my favorites. I think it's undeniable that Meet the Grams was the most disrespectful. Kendrick took the route of, "Hey, I've already kind of shot at you. Let me talk to your son. Let me talk to your mother. Let me talk to your father and your alleged daughter." But anyway, yeah, this one, between the airy piano and just the disappointment in Kendrick's voice, but also the severity when he's like this guy, like I can't stand him, and there's all type of nasty business going on in Drake's camp. Yeah, it was I can't recall too many disses like that, and just like it sting, because that really, and we'll talk about it more, but I think it's undeniable that the perception of Drake has changed throughout this beef. Like, even if there was some lingering rumors before about Drake's how he moves, and especially when it comes to younger women, the way it's been laid out with some of these bars, it's all bad. I'm sorry, Drake. It is what it is. You can still be the biggest, but we've all seen big guys. I think that's where you would come in and say a thing like no, Diddy. We've all seen big rappers like their names like throughout time. It gets a little smudge on it. It gets a little dirt on it. And then Kendrick did something which even I didn't see coming. Right, not soon after, not very like soon after, he dropped another record, and so Kendrick's really just Kendrick's like, I don't know where people have Kendrick on like the greatest of all time, but after this he definitely moves up, right?
Yes, without a doubt.
He went from the eerie piano record where he's like, he's coming for Drake, talking to his whole family, to the literal club and kind of and low key dance record of Not Like Us.
Yeah, you said switch it up on you.
I've and the album art. Obviously, if you're viewing it, so to anyone that would just listen to it in the background, but if you're viewing it, the album art of the Drake estate with the registered sex offender pin drops on the house. Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know. We had him on the list, but Kendrick definitely moved up. This was so intelligent, so battle ready. Like I never. The thing I'm most blown away at. People are literally dancing in clubs to a record in which somebody's calling another man a pedophile. Like this is some stuff that's never used before. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, it's diabolical. Like you got people walking to OV ho and calling them.
Yeah.
It's such a big brain move that it's something that I would have expected Drake to pull something like this. Obviously not to this level, but
Exactly.
Drake is the one known for making the bangers and the hits and songs in the summer and all that. And the fact that Kendrick could do it in a way where he's breaking records that Drake ain't even broke. And again, you're calling someone a pet.
Yeah, exactly. No, you said it exactly. And technically, kind of Drake did do it because Back to Back was a version of like a record that's obviously not as catchy as Not Like Us, but it definitely was a big record.
Back
You would
was
hear
pretty
it.
catchy.
You would hear it out. Yeah, I'm not downing Back to Back. I'm just saying the fact that Kendrick, he's already established that he's, I mean, at this point, definitely a better rapper than Drake. He can do multiple styles, multiple beats, multiple everything. But then he can just do it. Drake did, effectively bigger. Which that I think everyone would just. I think, man, I don't know what people think. But yeah, Not Like Us. You've heard it, and if you haven't heard it, you go around some people that are West Coast from the West Coast or West Coast associated, you'll hear it. Which I do want to get into, like, just again, I can understand why the perception of Drake has changed, but one thing that I didn't understand, I still don't understand, is how this battle became West Coast and everybody that rocks with Kendrick versus Drake. And specifically, if you guys were paying attention to how West Coast people were like viewing this battle, they were riding with Kendrick, no question about it. Like, the West got you. The West Coast got you. Anyone that comes to the West talking that Drake shit, we got you. Where is Toronto? I mean, I know Toronto's in Canada, and Canada lol, but where is Toronto? Where is Houston, Atlanta, Vegas? Where is anybody? Like, Drake didn't have a soul in his corner except Birdman and Mac Main. And I don't know if you saw, but Mac Main did.
Birdman in your corner.
But Mac Main did actually make a tweet. This is I want to finish the timeline. But this is really funny. Mac Main made a tweet, and he was basically cheering on Drake. And if you know anything about Young Money, once upon a time they released a record called "Every Girl in the World," and I'll never forget this because I was in high school, and this is when I first started listening to hip hop. Mac Main, for some reason, has a line in that song where he says effectively like, Miley Cyrus in 3 years, holla at me.
Yo,
at the time where Miley Cyrus was 15.
Oh no.
And that line, even when I was in high school, I just feel like it never sat right with me. But even worse than that, because people rap things that they don't really mean all the time. He also tweeted. I screenshot the tweet. I might share it in post, but he literally screenshotted. He literally tweeted it too. He was like, Miley Cyrus in 1 more year, talk to me.
Dog, what?
First of all, hollering at Miley Cyrus when she was a minor is crazy. Still on Disney Channel and all type of shit. But anyway, not too much tangents. The fact is,
he had Azalea Banks in his corner too. Don't forget about that.
Yeah, unironically, yes, Azalea Banks. I don't even know if she was in Drake's corner. She was just kind of anti-Kendrick, which, whatever that's worth. Anyway, to kind of round this out, while Drake was on the back foot after the release of Not Like Us, he did release The Heart Part 6, where he pushed back against a lot of the allegations. He effectively said, "Hey, I was the one, or we were the one that ironically manipulated this whole thing and fed y'all information. So y'all were just feeding wrong information that we fed you, and he tried to combat keep drilling in that, because the one thing that he kind of wanted to continually drill into people's minds about Kendrick is, hey, well, there's allegations of you being, physically abusive to your wife, and maybe some of your children not even belonging to them, and also, like, you claim to be, very pro-black, but you have a mixed wife, and all these things he just kind of kept reiterating. Did any of them stick? Is questionable, but that was his ammo, and he rounded out the Heart Part 6 with that. I think his delivery on the Heart Part 6 is still, it was still a really good diss record, but a lot of people did kind of comment at that point, you kind of seem like you're losing already, and also you don't really sound very enthusiastic at this point. So it just, for it to be where the beef quote unquote ended, it was, not the greatest ending in the world, but these things can't last forever. And then just some ancillary or just some additional stuff, some other notable songs. I felt compelled to, if some people would argue this is where it starts, some people argue it starts even further back. I don't really want to get into the whole where it starts, but just looking back at this, it's just like, cause that's the thing. Like, you look back at Control, or when Control first comes out, it's just a dope record and it sparks a lot of conversations and a lot of back and forth. But now you look back at Control and it's like, Kendrick really said I'm the best, and more than a decade later, I mean, look at the people he mentioned. Look where they're at, and look where he's at. He just fresh off the heels of, like, dominating. He effectively beating the biggest artist of all time in a rap battle. It's crazy. Also, I think there's probably way more, but Rick Ross was, also who also again was, for some reason in the beef, dropped a diss record towards Drake. That one hurts my heart because Rick Ross and Drake have so many dope records together. Lord Knows, Stay Scheming, like, hey, that's a shame. But hey, man, it is what it is. Also, probably one of the worst ones, but it's Kanye West, so we have to mention it. For some reason, Kanye did his a remix of Like That, and he threw shots at Drake. And when I went back and listened to the record earlier, he was throwing a lot of shots at Cole too. It was like he
no one even knows a J. Cole song.
Yeah,
oh my god.
I think somebody reminded me, but he really, really, really didn't like the false prophet record, where Cole was, kind of speaking about somebody that he used to admire, but now they kind of fell from grace and they're on a bunch of weird shit. Yeah, there was a lot of Cole slander in there, which I didn't really get. And also one of the most recent notable, not songs, but additions to the beef was, because, again, while it did end up really being Kendrick versus Drake, it all started on a Metro Boomin album, and then when a lot of Drake responses was aimed towards Metro Boomin. So Metro Boomin put out a BBL Drizzy beat, and I ain't gonna lie, it's a good beat.
It's a great beat.
Yeah, it's really good. Like, and it's so ironic because one of my favorite parts of the beef was Drake's line where he said, "Metro, shut your whole ass and make some drums." And what did Metro do? He went in the studio and made some drums. So that's why
the whole world roasting Drake. He had people in Japan roasting Drake. Like,
I saw some people say too that, like, that beat sounds like something that Drake would actually be great on.
yeah.
Which is also ironic.
Yeah.
I can 100% see it. Yep.
So yeah, that effectively, part of me, my voice and my nose is not all the way there, but that effectively is the recap of this. Obviously, I could have went into more detail with the respective songs, but that kind of gives you the highlights of it. And yeah, I mean, scroll back up. If it essentially starts in March 22nd and goes on to like the beginning of May, kind of like a month and a week. That was the extent of this, but that was and a lot of the beats took place a lot of the records really kind of came at the latter end of April. But yeah, this was something I don't think we've ever seen before. I don't think we probably ever will see it again. Like the literal two biggest artists in hip hop going back and forth. It was definitely crazy. We had a pretty in depth conversation about it before, but I guess now that things are over, um, I guess we can start off with some of the basics. What was your favorite record out of all of this? What do you think goes?
Um, I would say Meet the
Zoom out a
Grams.
bit, Ace.
I would say Meet the Grams is the best record. And if I could do a quick ranking. Meet the Grams, Euphoria, and 616 in LA are really tied, in my opinion. I would say Euphoria is a little better. Maybe Family Matters after that, then 616 in LA. And then at the very bottom, oh no, I forgot. Push ups after that, and then at the very, very bottom, below the AI shit is the Heart Part 6. I thought that was dog water. Awful track.
Jesus. No, okay. I guess I could. Yeah, I guess I could add that too. What's your favorite record and least favorite record out of all this, Ace?
Favorite, also Meet the Grams.
Damn, y'all like that piano shit.
Yeah. I like the moody.
And I'm an Alchemist hater, but he definitely came with that beat. That beat was nice.
Yeah. Least favorite. This is actually very difficult for me because I liked pretty much all the tracks. So I just say least favorite
Same.
was probably the AI one. The Drake AI one. Yeah.
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 Yeah. For me, I'll still stick with I really like Family Matters. I think even though I guess I should ask the question first, but even though from my perspective and from that's more of people's perspective that Drake did lose this, I think the length of it, the fact that the way he addressed that, I just kind of like the way he was rapping on that, like, like, and I'm trying to think. I'm also trying to be like super objective and kind of think like from like all this and like even further down the line, what's the bars that I'm gonna like is just gonna kind of come in my head. I really did like on what's it called? What's it? Which one is it? Scroll down. Euphoria. I do really like what kind of say it's like. F all that pushing P. Let me see you push a T. You better off going back before you mess with me. On Family Matters, what was it?
I think the funniest line of Family Matters for me was the Kendrick just dropped someone he handed him a gravy right now. That was pretty funny. I think that was funny.
Yeah.
It ain't got that many memorable lines. You can't.
No,
think of I can think of 20 lines off of
No,
Euphoria.
it's not. It's
The
not that.
problem
It's
the
not
problem
that.
is Meet the Grams erase any ability for the song to stay in my perception. Like I really have to go back and listen to.
Well, I mean,
I will say it. I will say it is more so the beat. I think the beat of the main beat of Family Matters might be my favorite one. That's also the attachment to it. But you are right. Like the fact that like right after that, Meet the Grams came out, it really did. I think if Kendrick like for whatever reason if he had delayed it or if he wasn't so quick with it, I think Family Matters would be appreciated more. I don't know. That's kind of getting corny, but whatever the case would be. My least favorite, I think it's obvious. The AI shit was like that was a bad move. Like I can understand from Drake's perspective. He's in the studio. Is like, yeah, I'm gonna put out a record, and it's gonna come from the perspective of like, because this was a time where Kendrick was on the clock, kind of, and it's like, Tupac would be disappointed if he was still here, and also
you had
Snoop.
some people in this very podcast questioning whether.
I still like the decision. In my opinion, I still thought it was a good decision.
I can understand why they did it, but it the end result, and the fact that even Tupac Estate, wasn't rocking with that. It's just like it wasn't a winning move unless he had got two. If Tupac Estate had backed him up, and he was able to keep that record up, maybe I would have pushed it up. But it just wasn't well done. Um,
That's the main
yeah,
reason why everyone in Cali was so against Drake because of that shit.
yeah,
Disrespectful.
yeah. They didn't like that. He thought just because he bought Tupac's ring, he was in good standings, but not so much. Yeah, I mean, is it even a question? Like Kendrick. I mean, okay. So was it a win by a big? Was it? Did he was he up in the series already and he smoked him, or was it relatively even for the most part? What do you think, Ghost?
I think it was a huge win, a 4-1 series win for
Oh
Kendrick.
Lord.
And the reason I think that is even I'm looking at this outside of all the extraneous stuff that we didn't even talk about, like the Twitter videos that's coming out, potentially disproving Drake and proving Kendrick. We won't talk about that. We won't even talk about the truth and the lies of the allegations,
Oh, we will
even
talk about that
though
a bit, but
yeah, for my I guess for my rating, I guess I
mhm.
won't touch on that now. But for one, if you really look at it, when it comes down to rapping, Kendrick, like he 100% won without question. I don't want to say he wiped the floor with him, but he very clearly out rapped Drake on essentially every track. Like if you go back and play every one of the four diss tracks he made, I didn't love the DJ Mustard one that's because I don't love DJ Mustard, but when you look at the intent of it, was
We're
make
not
a
West Coast
banger.
enough.
he he made a banger. When you look at the other three tracks, the only subpar, or the only mediocre stuff was probably the first minute or so, Euphoria, where he was kind of just it was a lead in. But
Yeah,
after that, it was straight bars for Euphoria. 616, I think he rapped even better. Like the content of Euphoria was a little better, but he rapped even better
facts.
on 616. And then
Agreed.
Meet the Grams is just like when you have everyone in the world just sitting there in shock with your mouth open at the first
Yeah,
line,
yeah.
like you
Dear
can't. That's
Adonis.
that's untouchable. And like even the way that track ended too, like the you lied about it, you lied, like it's just like you can't replicate that. You can't beat that. And when you look at Drake, I mean, again, I wouldn't say he had a bad showing because Push Ups was a decent track. Family Matters was a decent track. I'll say I don't want to downplay him necessarily because I was on Kendrick's side before this. So I don't want to downplay Drake because it was like he had a valiant effort, we'll say.
Yeah.
But you know that meme about Chris Paul hits a three down 30 in the fourth quarter with
Yeah,
5 minutes.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like he did fine, but fine was not gonna cut it. And Kendrick, like the killing blow is the fact that he not even known for making hits. He made a huge hit,
You
and
made
he's
a
gonna have
hit
people
hit.
singing that shit for the
Like
rest of
Billboard
the
topping
decade.
hit.
Like breaking records that Drake hasn't even broken, like most streams, whatever. I don't really
More.
care about the
He
streaming
got
shit.
more.
It's like it's
Yeah,
fine.
I kind of want to leave that aside, but while we're just
Yeah,
talking
it's like
about
the
it,
numbers. Who
more
cares about that?
streams, more views.
Yeah, it's really it just comes down to what are people listening to and what are people bumping? What are people gonna remember? And when it comes out this beat, people are gonna remember Kendrick dropping Meet the Grams, and then after that dropping Not Like Us, and people are still singing. It's still
20
stuck in my
minutes
head.
later.
Like it's Kendrick easily won 4-1,
Do,
Gentleman Suite.
do you not give a little credit to the fact that I mean technically Drake did drop the last record, so I mean it's almost like you don't take points off for sorry Drake dropped the most recent records or the last record, so you don't drop some points off for Kendrick for not being the one that dropped the killing blow at the end.
Now, if Drake actually dropped a good record instead of the Heart Part Six, like if he dropped Push Ups at the end instead of Heart Part Six, then I would kind of think that Kendrick won, but maybe it was closer. Maybe it was like Kendrick won, but Drake technically had the last word. But the Heart Part Six was really a trash track. And I'm not even talking about. We don't need to talk about his responses and I'm too famous to be. We'll leave that alone. But just his rapping on that
Yeah,
track
people
was
didn't.
garbage.
People didn't.
Like
No, 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 no.
no,
Sorry,
no,
I'm
no,
sorry.
no.
It's your opinion.
That
Sorry, sorry.
that mother eye, that was so bad. It was cringeworthy. I was like, this is what he came back with. It sounded so defensive. His little outro, I was good to, get a little exercise, put the pen. Shut up, bro. Like that was a awful track. And if he had dropped something better, then I would think that he Kendrick still would have won, but it wouldn't have been just a clear blowout. But this ending with
So,
that track was
so
nasty.
in a battle, you don't have to be the last one to drop. You just have to be the. You just have to drop the best record, in your opinion.
I would say yes. Like
So,
it kind of it's on a case by case
or in other
basis.
words, oh yeah. So in other words, Kendrick's not on the clock right now. He don't have to respond.
No, I was wondering if he would, but I mean, to be honest, the only reason I think Kendrick would respond is to address. That's the only reason Drake responded is to address the allegations of, oh, Kendrick claims that Drake's a pedophile. Drake claims that Kendrick beats his wife, and all this. Like maybe he just deemed that it wasn't even necessary to respond because it's so ridiculous. I don't know, but again, if Drake had dropped three great records but Kendrick dropped the one best and then three subpar records, then I would think that maybe Drake did end up winning the beef, and regardless of who dropped last. But in this case, it's very clear who took this.
Yeah, there's always going to be like different tactics depending on who you're going up against and what the situation is. A lot of it is case by case, but yeah, it's interesting. Kendrick really didn't respond to a lot of the allegations or any of it really. He just kept on attacking Drake, and low key, it worked out for him. So maybe he should just stick with that. Like Drake is trying to throw mud on your name, but man, it don't really. It's not really him. What about you, Ace? Do you think this battle was like clear cut, like you got smoke, or do you think it was a pretty good exchange back and forth?
I actually thought it was a very good exchange. This battle, which is it's kind of it's extremely ironic and it's funny that I was a self-proclaimed, and you guys know this, I was a self-proclaimed Drake hater. I've said this out loud. We played Drake tracks after the pod, listening after the pod, stuff like that. I've always said I'm a Drake hater. Um, but Drake's responses in this battle actually made me um think better of him in terms of his abilities. Push-ups, I really like push-ups. Family Matters, I really like Family Matters. Um and even the Heart Part 6, I like the Heart Part 6 as well.
Agreed.
Um the Again, like the way he's rapping on them, his cadence is just continuous, like continuously at a high quality. It's a very good showing for him. Um, Obviously, in the court of public opinion, Drake lost. Um,
Yeah.
I think there's no question there. But yeah, in my opinion, like I I could almost see an alternate universe where it was just because of public perception, it was a lot closer. Maybe if Kendrick, like you said, maybe if he released Meet the Grams not right after Family Matters and people have more time to digest that track, it could have been closer. Just like little things about how things played out with the beef.
Yeah.
Um, that maybe that could have changed public perception. Also, Drake shooting at other people besides Kendrick kind of ended up shooting himself in the foot with that, with
What
the
was he
Metro
supposed to
Boomin.
do though? He,
I
he
know, no,
had
no,
everybody in rap
it,
coming. He had Rick Ross, tall and white
yeah,
boy.
no, you're right, and I
I'm
think
just
that,
talking. I don't care.
yeah, and there was good and bad with it because, like, to me, I saw it as a positive, him taking, aiming at other people besides Kendrick, because it was like it took him from being just I don't know. I perceived him as just like a weak. He's not gonna fight. He's not. He really isn't gonna even try in this. In
Even after
this.
the Meek Mill stuff.
Actually, you
This
know what?
big,
I'm not.
this big now, bro.
Yeah, I
He's
think
an easy target.
because
No, not at the time he wasn't.
Pusha T
I guess that's true.
is more like relevant in my mind in terms of some Drake going against a you know kind of skilled rapper and completely getting just demoralized and shut out. That's more so in my mind. So him
I got
going
you.
against Kendrick, I was like, I don't think I don't think he has anything he's going to be able to do. And then for him to come out and like aim at all these other dudes and kind of make the perspective um like he's above this, but he has to come down and like put everybody in their place. I really like just the way he the way he set up like the perception of himself in push-ups and
Mm.
continued that. But at the same time, like I said, um it did end up backfiring a bit where you had the BBL Drizzy where like everybody knew about BBL Drizzy too. Like I had coworkers talking about it. Like people you just would not expect talking about this song is so great. So yeah, like in the because of a lot of the things that happened, um, kind of extraneous to the actual Drake and Kendrick battle, I think that pushed the public opinion outside of um, you know, favoring Drake to favoring Kendrick. Um, but yeah, I mean, and this is just kind of getting out my less conventional um thoughts on the whole exchange. I still like, while I definitely agree, in my opinion, Kendrick won. I something about something about the way Kendrick has been rapping of late, like it's still not necessarily the most top tier Kendrick I think I've heard in the past that I would have wanted to hear in this beef. Like for example, if we compare Kendrick Control era to Kendrick now, I don't think we got a verse or
Hmm.
a
That's
song that was as good. Yeah, a verse that was as good as Control
that's true, but
in this
that's like
battle.
the literal peak of Kendrick in that era. Good Kid, Mad City. That's like the
Yo, you're
borderline the
right.
peak of
You're
hip
right.
hop.
You're right. You are
Yeah.
absolutely right. I'm just saying
Yeah.
that's like the one maybe point I could have against Kendrick is like
You're
it's
mad that
still.
He
Kendrick's
wasn't
good.
as
It's not
good as
good.
he
It's
was.
old Kendrick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not much to debate about, but it's just like
Yeah.
so.
yeah,
Basically, Drake was better than you expected, and Kendrick was worse than you expected. Kendrick's best is still way better than, or Kendrick's worst is still better than Drake's best, but because
Yeah.
of the relative expectations,
yeah.
Drake gets some brownie points.
I mean, yeah, you're you're simplifying it a little bit. I still think Drake did extremely well. Another thing that's kind of a slight against Drake is that you have the ghostwriters whole thing. It's like with any great Drake verse, now that's something that's in the back of my head all the time. Is like how much of this was actually Drake and how much of this was like a team effort where, he's getting verses like
He
you.
didn't have any ghost writers with him for the Heart Part 6, I'll tell you that.
um
Yeah. All throughout this, there was definitely I don't know, allegations. Well, I guess Kendrick did make some allegations. Well, there was talk about Drake having ghostwriters. Well, I think in general, people have moved past that being like a super slight on a rapper or an artist. I think in the terms of like, hey, when we're battling, that would like if any type of reference record would ever come out or any type of like anything even in the sort would have come out with any of these disc records or disc record in general, that would make the artist look extremely bad.
yeah.
But it did. The Daylight came out and said that he ghost
Oh,
wrote
you all right?
what's the Meek Mill track? I can't remember I
You
think
you
that was
are
back to
right.
back.
Oh right.
Daylight did come out
He
and say
said like
something.
that's that's like as damn as you can get. And remember when Drake first dropped um push-ups, people thought it was AI. Like
Yeah, yeah.
people were not sure if it was him or not. With Kendrick, There's no question on that.
That's the other
Like,
thing. My apologies to cut you off,
no,
both Andrew and Ace, but it's so crazy. It's like Drake's the biggest artist in the world. Why aren't your releases like just clean, like straight onto YouTube, straight onto streaming platforms? Like there was all this like he put out the record, but then he put out the official record
the
later.
64 kilobytes per second
Why wouldn't
version,
he
the low
like?
bit rate.
You should have like the biggest music machine behind you. Why wouldn't it just be boom, boom, boom? Like
It comes off as like he was.
there was nothing
purposely trying
fishy
to
about the
get some
Kendrick shit.
feedback. Yeah, it's really sketchy because it like he wasn't confident enough to stand on it, and then he saw the reception was positive. He's like, okay, now I'll roll it out. Which maybe that wasn't the case, but it just doesn't come off great.
Yeah. Again, sorry, Ace. Did you have more to say?
Um, I think I said everything. I agree that even though not to me, Not Like Us is just like it's more hilarious than anything else. I'm not into the I've never been into the West Coast.
Shook a chord and probably A
Yeah,
minor.
it's just hilarious. But yeah, that Meet the Grams, like that night that dropped, I remember exactly where I was too, and like that's something I'm never going to forget. Like it was such an insane moment in hip hop. So yeah,
Yeah.
we
That
got some great
you know
moments.
what that really revealed to me? Because obviously, Euphoria was it was a phenomenal diss record. Meet the Grams was like, so Kendrick can be very mean. Like if he wants to be like a mean guy, he'll just
That
be a
was a
mean guy.
sinister, malicious track. Like,
And it was interesting because I got similar vibes because when Pusha T, I almost forget the beat for the Adianis record, whatever it's called,
it
but
was the sample of like, the same
OJ,
sample that Jay Z
um,
used for
yeah,
Coco.
yeah, yeah, you're right, it kind of gave me Pusha T vibes, and just like when I think of like rappers that can get incredibly mean, Pusha T
Yeah,
comes to my
yeah,
mind. But
yep.
Kendrick might have like even like like surpassed that. Like Kendrick just got so disrespectful, and the angle he took. Like people like the fact that one day Drake's kids are gonna hear that, and that's
People will say
something.
that when Adonis is 18 or when he's older, he's gonna be playing that in his room when he's pissed at Drake. It's like that's never going away.
Yeah, yeah. I was. It reminds me of the memes and whatever going around where like in 20 years will we get the apology from Kendrick like, yeah, looking back, I didn't really want to make
The
that
Nas
song.
and the Jay-Z, but no, I don't think that's happening.
Yeah. But yeah, Kendrick went incredibly, like you said, sinister, incredibly mean. Like the way he attacked Drake. Yeah, Drake just didn't have anything that he just didn't have anything strong enough. Like, and maybe that just goes back to the fact that Kendrick does start say hey, I'm boring. I live a boring life. I don't like rap. Isn't even the biggest thing in my life. Like I have other things going on. And that goes into the question of like our being of quote unquote, because we're not here to put a good moral character on anybody here, but like just not being in the nasty aspects of life can really help you in a battle. Yeah. One of, I don't know. I think we're pretty much close to wrapping this up, but
I
one of
just
my
want to shout out real quick. Sorry, I didn't
go
mean to
ahead.
cut you off. Just I think the absolute funniest line of any track came from Drake when he said that Kendrick shit only hits when Baby Keem puts a pen to it.
Oh my god.
I could not stop laughing at that. Like stuff like that is why you can't take any of Drake's stuff, his track seriously, because like he has some good bars and he'll say some shit like that. It's like, yeah, well, Baby Keem was in middle school when Kendrick was putting out Good Kid, Mad City, but sure, Drake. It's
Yeah,
fine. That's it.
I tried to lean on like not really focus on every single bar, even like the ones that are cringe that don't necessarily make sense. But why would you take the
Like,
angle of Kendrick
come
is
on,
getting help from writing his
come on,
records, and
come
then
on.
he's getting help from Baby Keem? Are you crazy? That was ludicrous. Like I think I would that one in particular. He said some other stuff, but that one in particular, yeah, I think I would have been like, yeah, I don't think you should do no, don't do that one, bro. But yeah, obviously, yeah. Well, if we did put rap genes and go through some of these, we could obviously pick apart a bunch of lines. I don't know. One of my like major or last takeaways is like Drake. Oh yeah, because going back to what you were saying, Ace, like how like it's when you say like you don't like Drake, it's like that you seem like the odd man out, or seemed like the odd man out. I was like, what do you mean you don't like Drake? Drake's the biggest.
Right.
Like you seem like you're just a hater. But the way there was like not a lot of support.
What did Kendrick
Or
saying? That what he's saying is what the culture's feeling.
Yep.
It's like Drake can have his pop fans. I won't speak to his demographics, but when it comes down to it, with black people, they don't really rock with Drake. This is
it
what
it
it
re-
is.
it truly felt like that. Like I'm just watching like there's like not only the West Coast, but everybody is behind Kendrick, and obviously he's putting out really good records. But like normally when we talk about Drake, you talk about his shows, you talk about just on like how Drake has like the biggest fan base or whatever. It was quiet. It was like literally. It was like Toronto. Do you have a voice? Atlanta. And it's like not even artists, not even all
Like
artists.
Kendrick called out the fact that he was using Atlanta artists, and you would think that maybe one of them would chime in and say, "Nah, that ain't true." But that's
Like nobody came out and said Drake's my brother. We rocking with that. Like it was.
he had
Quiet.
Tom McDonald though.
I don't know. If I was Drake, is a wild comment. I think. Don't you? Yeah, I feel inclined to like. I'm not working with the artists like ever again, or a bunch of artists, because like. And obviously, when it comes to a rap battle, it is going to be that man versus that man, or that artist versus that artist, like mano a mano. But like usually, like there's a bunch of like guys in the background like saying, "Hey, that record that my guy put out was the best record of all this." Drake had like zero support, so it's just weird.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
You would think that he would have had more people on his side, but it was literally the opposite. Just people coming out the woodworks dissing Drake.
Yeah,
That old song he made, "No New Friends." You're gonna have to make some because he apparently ain't got that.
it's
many
just not
now.
like, and I understand. I can understand the perspective of like some people want to remain neutral, and because I think like 21 Savage actually came out and said like, "Hey, I'm not in between. I'm not in between it. Like I'm like Drake's my brother and Metro Boomin my brother, so I'm not getting into it." But it's just like Wayne, DJ Khaled,
Right.
like all these people that you would think is Drake's like in Drake's corner. It's just.
It came out that Wayne was playing "Not Like Us" at a show. It's like
Yeah,
it's rough. It's
I don't.
rough.
I'm not surprised. Like Travis Scott. He used to be really cool with. They had sicko mode. Man, it's ugly.
He was cool with Metro too, right?
Yeah, obviously. It's just crazy.
I
Yeah.
think did 21 defend him?
No, that's what I said. Like you would think 21 would have, but he came out
Damn,
and
he
said
didn't. Ooh,
he said he can't get into it because he's really cool with Metro Boomin as well, which makes sense.
damn.
It's
The
really
more-
crazy because Drake had. I mean, I feel like Drake did have the younger demographic of, I don't know.
Yeah, that is when we
Bobby
really
Smith,
think about it. Like, it's crazy he didn't have support
blown
from any
away.
like social media, like
Yeah.
TikTok, like Twitter. Like that's his demographic. Like people know that Kendrick is like that, but a lot of younger people haven't listened to Kendrick and really know what he's about. And
Right.
The fact that that's crazy.
And the thing is, before this battle, because I've seen like Kendrick versus Drake debates online.
Yes. Yes.
And there was a good amount of people that's like, yeah, Kendrick can rap kind of nice, but Drake is still like that guy. Nobody said anything during this battle.
That's really crazy. when you
That's
think
what
about
shocked me. The fact
That's
that like
really-
obviously Kendrick is more disrespectful, putting out great bars, putting out great records, putting out the big records, but like shouldn't the Drake stands still kind of like hold him down?
Like, where are the Drakes besides academic? Even academics. I don't want to say he turned on Drake, But he was like revealing shit about Drake
Well,
and
yeah,
saying, "Oh, he was lying about certain
we had to
things,"
be
and
objective, or else he
he
would have
kind of
would
flipped.
compromise,
Yeah,
like Kendrick did.
I'll give it to Act because I thought he was just gonna be a nut rider for the whole time, but he was fairly objective. But I would think that he would kind of be biased, and
Yeah, I
I
showed
didn't.
you the poll he did in his stream too. Like if
Yeah,
anybody was gonna have a poll where
Cap.
Drake was up, it was gonna be Ack, and they had
yeah.
Drake at like 13%.
It ain't just us here coming in saying that Drake lost by a lot. Like you look at a lot of polls online, like Drake got smoked. Like he lost. Which if y'all heard me on this very same podcast, I came on here and said, listen, Kendrick's kind of tweaking. He's never battled. Drake can do this. Now that we've seen it, we know what Kendrick can do. Yeah, it's just
Y'all never should have done.
yeah. Um, yeah. That was the battle. I think it's safe to conclude it here. There's probably when they put out their respective albums, there might be some subliminal subs, all that dumb shit. But I think for the most part, like don't come for Kendrick. I think that's blatantly obvious. Oh my
If
gosh.
you do come for Kendrick, make sure you pull a J. Cole.
Yeah, but you better be ready to apologize. Man. Yeah, I'm sure there's a couple other thoughts that can come that we could bring up, and if there is anything later on, feel free. But as of right now, I think it's just like the battle. I think this is over. If there's nothing else, we can move on to the next topic. That's the link I dropped.
No,
Oh, I'm about to say.
what's going on here? Copy text.
All right, so I spent a good time on the Drake versus Kendrick, but I also want to hit a couple more topics. Hopefully, we're still rocking. Hopefully, we're still live. Hopefully, the connection hasn't fully dropped. Anyway, so I don't know if y'all saw the clip. I don't know how viral it is, but it's definitely funny. uh, just to paint the setting, no pun intended. This is at a nail salon. I didn't know that these nail technicians are using this 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 new lamplight type thing. But any of that aside, I also didn't know. I don't know how big male nail techs are, but we have one here. And the little caption on the video is, "Client husband came asking me to give back the tip that his wife gave me for the service." So let's play it and see how this interaction plays out.
Are you the guy who did my wife's nails yesterday?
Yeah, I did.
Did she give you a tip?
The one that gave me $25 tip?
Yeah, she said she gave you a big tip.
Yeah, she did.
I need that back.
Why? She gave it to me.
We're running low on money and she shouldn't have even got your nails done, much less give you a tip.
That's weird, but I'm not gonna do that
I'm
because
gonna need the tip back, bro.
I can't. She gave it to me. You didn't give it to me.
So how do you want to do this? I'm gonna get it back one way or the other.
Well, why don't you bring your wife in here and she can talk to me about it?
Well,
Because,
she's not coming back in here because you're gonna try to get more money from her.
well, you should
I need the
have
money back.
came in yesterday with her.
I was busy. I worked making my own money.
So
I
why
get
do you need the $25 back if you're making your own money?
Because we don't make enough. And she's in here giving it away.
That's not my problem.
But are you the guy who did?
Now, the disclaimer, like always, y'all got to take things here online with a grain of salt, because it is kind of... If it was from a security cam point of view, POV, then I would have been like, okay, so this is... But, that's just to get rid of anything. But regardless if it's super real or super fake, you have this male nail tech, that did a woman's nails, like of course women like to do, and they gave him a tip, which I was just talking to Sardine recently, and they told me about like it gave me some additional like POV information of like what a normal tip is, so I just get some more information. But anyway, so, but sorry, trying to get all my thoughts together. But anyway, so tipping is obviously common whenever you're doing any service, and it's like this guy probably thought everything was copacetic, but then the husband comes in requesting it back, and you can't. And obviously, we are in an economy where you do gotta save on every penny, but I mean, do you really start requesting money back once you already got the service? Now, a lot of guys looking at when they look at a lot of things, and maybe women feel this way too. A lot of guys, they look at some of the things that women do, nails, hair, and when they see the bills or the costs associated with it, they like it doesn't even make sense to guys, which is fair. But can you imagine a world in which you would go look for the guy that or the person that didn't get the money back? I guess that's like the first question: is the husband in any way, shape, or form justified? What do you think, Ace? Come on, it's hard out here. Come on.
I think it's fine to try. If you're that desperate, I'm not gonna knock you for trying, but if the person says no, like I think it's a sunk cost. Like are you gonna fight the guy? Like it's not.
Well, you heard him. He's getting it back one way or another.
Yeah.
Which I would take that as a threat, and I would immediately call police. But sorry,
it's 100% a threat.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't condone that at all. So, yeah, I mean, from the perspective, like the male perspective, like you were just saying, to be shocked by the price of whatever type of cosmetic thing that the wife is doing, and to try to get the money back, given your financial standing. Like again, I won't necessarily knock it just and say you shouldn't have even tried, but yeah, he went too far.
What do you mean he went too far? Some people are down to fight over $5, much less 25.
Figure it out some other way, man. It's a sunk cost already. Like the wife gave the tip because apparently the dude did a good job. He did the job already. It's over. Like the transaction happened.
Damn.
You know you got the $25 on him. Like no, you're gonna swipe it or you're gonna like, you got a card reader. Like,
oh man, that's funny. What about you, Ghost? Do you think those have been justified? If your wife went out and spent your hard-earned money on some tip for the nail service, would you barge into the shop and be like, "Hey, I need that back"?
So, I really do not think that he was in the right at all. But I'm gonna try to look at this from his perspective and what he maybe could have done instead. But I thought he was against like $200. 25 is crazy for all this. But beside the point, if he's that desperate,
well, it's 25 for the tip specifically. Cause you could imagine like,
but
maybe the nails costed like the nail service maybe costed like, and this is on the higher end. Maybe it could have costed like 75 to 80, and then then they gave 25, and then they made it like $100 bill or something like that. I've
heard stories of hair salon people getting tips $100. People be tipping their barbers 40, 50, 100. They be tipping the barbers crazy. So to me, I kind of look at it in that same sense, and that if you're going to get your nails done and doing whatever, then you kind of have the money. But the amount aside, I think that if they were that desperate and he really needed the money back, I don't fault him necessarily for trying, but he should have been there with the wife, and they both should have asked the dude and said, "We thought we were in exposition and we weren't." Blah blah blah, and him running up in there and demanding this, like, for one, how do you even know that he could just be? I mean, this isn't really feasible. But what if he's just trying to get some free money out of him and he's not even actually that woman's wife? Like, I don't know what he expected there, but you cannot go in and threaten someone, especially when you already gave him the money. Like, he's coming and acting like he's entitled to it. Nah, if you want that, you're gonna have to beg for it in a way that doesn't paint you as an asshole. So he really has no excuse. And if he did want to do this, he should have approached it differently.
Well, y'all right, you're right. So what are y'all saying? Because obviously the guy is trying to penny pinch. He's stressed out over this. So what are y'all saying? Like, what should the community? Because obviously it starts at home. If the wife wants to make any purchase, she got to run it by the husband.
And that's another thing. Like,
That's what y'all saying?
they got some problems in their marriage, because if she's out doing something and he's not aware of it, or if he okayed it but didn't realize it, like, y'all gotta communicate, and it shouldn't be a $25 is having you run up in there threatening to put hands on someone, basically. Like, that's, you got some problems there. Like, I would be talking if there was a situation where, like, it doesn't have to be nails, but my wife makes a purchase that I don't know about.
Yeah. What if your wife go buy a car behind your back? You're not gonna go. You're not gonna run up in the dealership and say, I need my money back."
I think a car is way crazier than $25. But again, like, if in your example,
So what's the threshold?
my first thing would be, I don't know, a car is definitely crazy.
What's the threshold? So if your significant other spends money, you're gonna have to get it back in blood.
Crazy. I would say us. It depends on our financial situation, obviously, but over the amount of a weekly paycheck, that's kind of when it's like, okay, you didn't think that we need to talk about this, communicate about it. And if that's, I would be more, and not accusatory, but like, talk to my wife, like, yo, you like this, you can't, if we're talking about a car, that's 100% like, yeah, you can't go and buy a car without me knowing about it, or I can't do that without you knowing. Like, that's something where I would be more talking to the wife first. And if it was a situation where, yeah, we need that money, like, we can't afford this, then I would go to the dealer, and I would not be threatening. I would be more so, yeah, we made this mistake. It's our fault, but what is our recourse? And can we cancel the purchase? Can we do this? What are our options? Like, if you want something, especially money, and you don't really deserve it and you don't have a legal standing for it, you gotta be borderline like kiss. I don't want to say a kiss up, but you have to be very friendly with the people that you're trying to get this money from. You can't go in when you're not entitled to it and act like you are, because that's the quickest way. Like, I don't know this dude. I don't know the situation. They could be a day away from going homeless, but just based on this minute long clip, I don't want to give him shit. I want to tell him, get out of here. I'm gonna call the cops on you. And I don't even want to be like calling the cops like that. But it's like, if he came in here with a different demeanor and was like trying to work with him, then it would be a completely different story. But I think that it should be more of a husband and wife talking about a thing than accusing the whoever you made the purchase from.
Yeah, obviously you're absolutely right. But I mean, y'all do know that there are some people that move like this guy, that try to bully people. He figured he can just come in there and bully to get his money back.
Yeah, that is true, and on
Nobody's
some,
gonna sympathize with him.
it might have worked on some people. Like, I think this dude handled it perfectly, but maybe someone else would have just caved and gave him the money and he would have got what he wanted. But if you go about your life trying to bully people and stuff, you're kind of a piece of shit. I'm not saying this about this dude necessarily. I don't know what his deal is, but it's a piece of shit thing to do.
No, I think people generally agree with that, or we generally agree with that. I guess real quick, Ace, what would be your threshold to where you have to make a move to get your money back or try to figure it out?
I don't know. I mean, it. I, I think it would be hard to put a specific amount on it. It's just wherever.
Well, for this guy, it's $25.
Well, yeah, but I mean that's because of where he is financially, apparently. So if I'm in a tough spot, if me and my wife are in a tough spot, that 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 value could be $25. If we're not, then it's going to be higher.
You're getting $25 back?
If I'm that desperate, yeah,
I
I
think you
can't
gotta
see it. Like, I
you
mean,
gotta. I think you gotta let that go, fam.
Damn, you low key flexing. Like that can never
no,
be me. But
I said I can't see it. All praises, I can't see it, but um,
Man, I don't care if I don't got a dollar to my name. If I give away money, that thing's done. But hey man, salute to them for trying. And when I say salute to them, I just mean the thought of it. Obviously, yeah, nobody would agree they handle it differently. I'm gonna be honest. If I can't imagine myself being in a job in which I provide a service like this. But if a guy comes in there and talks about, hey, I need my money back for my significant other, not even this person, I'd laugh in his face, bro. If you don't beat it, $25 ain't no $25. But yeah, if anything, it's just entertaining the fact that some people really do think that they're entitled to things like this in this world. But yeah, the bigger more story is, yeah, people need to, because you know what this, and I was thinking about this when I first watched it, like, not to get all fan fiction-y, like, this is what I think this is what easily imaginable situation. The wife goes out, they do their nails, whatever the case may be. Maybe it is a time in which it is a bit more, the money's a little tighter. They go back, they do their nails, whatever. They come back home, they talk about their day. I went to the nail salon, I got my nails done, do you like them? As women like to do. The guy says, oh, I don't care. And how much do they cost? She tells him the price, and then he starts to care. And he's like, what do you, and she's like, I gave him tip. He's like, you gave him tip? And then he takes his behind back and says, "Oh, you know what? Let me." They probably had some conversation. Like, we don't even know if the wife would be even agreement with getting the money back. But he was like, "All right, let me handle this because you can't handle money." So he goes in there and he think he's gonna bully his way to get that $25 back until he comes against this brother. Is like, no, I'm not giving it back to you. So the moral of the story,
very realistic.
So yeah, the moral of the story is, like, before you come and approach like the literal service worker, you need to make sure your house is in accordance to where you and your senior father have a firm understanding of like what money can be doled out and what money can't. Because like beefing over $25 is, obviously I understand that people are hurting, especially in these day and age. But like, come on, that ain't the move. But if there's nothing else, we can move on to the next topic. Definitely a nice recurring theme for this podcast: money. We talked about how much money it would take for you to need to get it back in blood, but there's also a question of like, how much do you give when you've received? So I think this is probably like a timeless question. Like what is like the amount you give when somebody's given to you and then you come up? But I guess this is like the real time, like, get into the shits of it. So a nice little Twitter question, and maybe this probably isn't like a whole super long topic worth of discussion, but don't forget to tip. Ironically, don't forget to tip. They posted a question: if a friend loans you $100 to gamble and you win $50,000, how much are you giving to your friend? So I mean, it's not really anything to further deep dive. If you get a small loan of money, you're at a casino, Gambling is haram, by the way. But if you are gambling, and you come up big, like you're not, I'm not talking about double or triple. Like you are now, you win a life changing amount of money. But we'll keep it to the parameters that they give. How much you giving back? We'll start with you, Ghost.
Huh. So I'm assuming that when I asked for this, okay, it does say it asked specifically to gamble. I was just wondering if I asked for $100 or I asked for the $100 to gamble. Um,
I was kind of thinking of broadening it out to maybe if you were trying to do your own like investment on the side, or maybe not straight up gambling, but if you were trying to flip something. But I think just gambling is like the quickest way to imagine like getting money and then flipping it. You could also imagine like lottery ticket if your homie passes you like $5 for a lottery ticket. That is the $1 million lottery ticket. What are you giving? Anything like that?
uh, man,
Come on, what's
I don't know.
fair?
I'm just trying to keep it general, assuming that the friend like isn't hurting for money or anything. Uh, I don't know. I would say realistically, probably either 5K or 10K. I don't like we could if we're talking about what's fair, we could either say giving him the $100 back is fair and patting him on the back, or giving him half.
I'm not about what's fair. What are
Yeah.
you doing?
I know.
What is your version of what's fair?
I don't know. I would probably say I guess I would go 10K because he did give me the money. I wouldn't have been able to win it without him. Technically, after he gave me that money, then he had nothing to do with my gamble paying off.
Okay, so you're saying 10K,
Yeah, I don't know.
and
This is a tough one.
and now the sucky question, because if somebody asks you this, then they might not really be your friend. But what if they say, hey, "Can I get a little more since I gave you the money?"
Oh yeah,
Yikes!
I, I'm trying to imagine this because if I was one of y'all that loaned this to me, and it's really hard because I know y'all can never. I'm trying to think of a specific friend that I would have that would, I don't know,
Yeah, ironically,
ask
speaking
a question.
not to jump the gun, but ironically speaking for myself, if I give somebody money and they use it to flip it and they play win big, they don't have to give me back anything.
Yeah, so that's like I know y'all, and I know y'all would not request it, so that's why. Oh, okay. So if in this case, let's say I did 10K, and then they said, "Can I get?" I don't know. Would they be asking for half, or would they ask for just like another 5K or something?
Well,
And
I mean, black folk. No, some of this wasn't
are
like,
they,
they're not gonna effort. They're like, so I gave you a little. You can slide me a little more though, since you got it now.
I
okay?
can
So
imagine this
at first,
as a
at
Nile
first,
grab.
I would try to play it like kind of jokingly, or I would be like, "Yeah, dawg, you already get 100 times your investment. Like you already set."
It's not technically an
I
investment,
could have
technically a
lied
gift,
and said
but
that I could have lied and said I got nothing out of it. But I would try to like not to be an asshole about it. I would try to like play it like that and see if they kind of relax. If they're pressing me about it, I would maybe. It depends on how good a friend they are. This is difficult. I would say
yeah.
maybe another 5K, which is a lot of money, but considering that I got this 50,000 off of 100 that they lent me, I guess I would be willing to part with more. If someone asks me that, I really can't. It's hard to imagine them being your friend. Like if I
Yeah.
was in this scenario, I if someone like said, "Oh, here's your $100 back," and gave me nothing, I wouldn't expect it. I'll be like, seriously, like, come on. But if they gave me, let's say they gave me 5,000, I would not have any complaints because again, I loaned them the money, and I'm not gonna ever request more. I would never really ask for more. But I don't know.
Oh,
This is a good one. It's a good question.
okay. So you would in your mind you would be thinking 10K, and if they push it, then you 15K is where you'd be comfortable.
Yeah, if they push it up beyond that, it's like what
Now
if
you
they
now
said
you
like I
now
get
you
40K?
oh
That
my
that is
god,
like
you might have just lost a friend after that.
Have to start sounding like Logic.
Oh shoot, with his pops. That's messed up. Um,
I want to hear y'all's answers.
yeah. What about you, Ace? Your friend, your homie loans you, as a gift, $100. You come up big, you win 50. How much are you instinctively giving them?
Half.
25. Okay. What's your rationality? Or is you just
Um,
that's just what you would do? No questions about it.
yeah, it's pretty much no question. It's like if you didn't give me this, I wouldn't have gambled it. You, I, you get half. Like, I don't know. I don't know if there's much logic to it. It's just
I got you.
we're half and half on it. Like,
Now, same question. If they be like, well, since I gave you that initial, you think I could get a little more?
yeah, that it does
You're
get
already doing better than me, and they want more than.
yeah. It
I
does
only
get,
said 10.
um. I mean, the thing is,
You can say it. I'm not giving them no more.
no. I know, but I think I would consider it. So, mm,
It's like, don't it?
yeah, because it's once you get to this point, it's like, what kind of friendship is this? Also, what was expected with the loan too? Like, when we
They
say it's a
didn't. They didn't
loan,
expect you to win.
yeah, but did they still expect the money
Oh,
back,
yeah,
No,
loan
or did they
is
expect
kind
the
of
100 back?
crazy.
I'm saying
no. It's just, they think of it as a gift.
it was a
Okay,
gift.
okay,
Okay,
that's
okay.
really different.
So yeah, if it was a gift, then yeah, it's mine to decide what I want to do with it. So like, if they're asking me for more, it would be where, like, if they were asking in a way where it's like they need something specific, or they I mean, a tight spot with when you got $25,000, that should be able to clear up most things. But um if they have, if
Well,
they have like a reason or something like that, where
25
it's
is nice, but they can get another 5 out of you. That's like paying off a new car.
true. Yeah, what I'll say is I wouldn't be as inclined to do it just offhand. Like, if it's more of a if it's kind of in a like a jokey way, or if I feel like they're probing me, or to see if they could get a little bit more, then I think I would be more inclined to try to push back a bit. Um, and then if it starts to get crazy, it's like, all right, hold up, you gave money to me, and I'm giving you half out of the kindness of my heart. Like, we're reciprocating. Now you're asking for more, and now it's becoming something else.
Damn.
Um, so yeah, I wouldn't necessarily just fold and give them more. It would have
But
to be.
then they're gonna hit you with. So even though you wouldn't even have that unless I gave you that initial, so that's how you acting.
That's how I'm acting. Why'd you give me the money? Like, you you clearly you didn't give me the money out of the kindness of your heart then. And it's like, first of all, you gave me the money, so that's over. You gave me the money as a gift. Whether you perceive whatever, I perceive it as it was a gift. Now I'm giving you half as a gift. Any more than that, we're talking about trying to tit for tat and exchange. That's not that's not what we're doing. Like,
Oh Lord, it's just because the tone you're using, I can imagine. Oh shoot. Um, no, it definitely. This question, I guess, it does kind of get the brain moving, and it is unfortunate that it could. You could imagine a world in which it doesn't get. I mean, hopefully everyone has like a good circle, which this would never even come up. But for some people that don't have, for some people that have shakier circles, you can imagine a world in which people try to get a little more out of you. Yeah, I don't know if we just think the same, but yeah, my instinct would be to give half. And I obviously have the views of money that I have. Like I would never be too pressed. So and like 20. I mean, even like for the average person, even like 10K is like a like that's a life changing amount. So like if I'm up 10, 20, 25, I'm not gonna be I'm not gonna feel any ways about parting with half of it. Um, I will say, um, maybe I'm not that petty, but I could imagine a world in which if you press me for this, I might I might f around and give you just like most of it. I'm not gonna say all of it, like most of it, and then I'm dubbing you. I know that makes me. I'm not trying to make myself seem like something I'm not, but like I don't mess around. I don't mess around with people that try to like get something out of me when I'm like when I'm already what I perceive to be given. Like I'm just gonna dub you, and you're never gonna see me or talk to me again. Like don't f around with that type of stuff. But realistically speaking, I think like the amounts y'all gave and amounts that most people would give if in a situation, I think would be substantial for most people. Like if you're a person that's like trying to get more when someone just gave you, then you got some stuff to re-examine yourself.
So we don't have to touch on this too much longer because I think we all have our answers. But would it reframe the amount in any way if you were planning on giving X amount to some of your family members? Like, let's say, oh, I got this 50,000. I want to give 5K to my brother, 5K to my sister, 5K to my parents, and that leaves me with 30K, and then we have the remaining amount.
That's
Would
actually a really
that, because
that's
in
actually a really good
theory,
question.
it's like that's kind of like why I went with a 10K at first, because in my mind, like I wouldn't just be keeping all this from, I would give them some of it, and then it'd be kind of like, oh, we're splitting the remainder. But we don't have to look at it that way. I'm just curious if that changes the answer for y'all, or y'all still would go with
Oh,
half.
that's a really good follow up. And I mean, it just goes to point out like I think it would speak for all of us. Like when and if we do come up on a sum of money, our first thought is like I'm gonna dole this out to family. Like this isn't just my money. This is the family money. Um, I'll speak for me real quick. And I think that's why I can't imagine a world in which I would give away like the majority of it. Because if I come up on my first thought is like, okay, this much is going to moms, this much is going to the younger siblings. So yeah, and depending on if I've already started to plan about stuff, then maybe I would reserve like like 15 to 10K that I'm not parting ways no matter what. But it doesn't change my amount that much. What about you, Ace?
Yeah, I don't think it changes mine at all either because my first thought would have been to give them half. So I wouldn't I wouldn't have started planning what I was gonna do with the money with anybody else before the person that gave me or yeah, before the person that gave me the money. Like giving them half is instant. That's what I'm doing.
Gotcha.
Oops, sorry. Yeah, that makes sense to me. The moral of the story is I feel this is a good script to go with this. But yeah, if you receive, don't have a problem with giving back, and if you are the one that's getting back, don't push it.
Is there anything that someone could do to just make you give them their $100 back and you call it a day? Like how far would they have to push you before you completely flipped it and just say, "Nah, you ain't getting shit"?
You know what's crazy? I don't think there's anything a person could do. I think it's more as the relation. Like, I don't know if this is what people, if regular people do, but if I'm out gambling with like a coworker that I don't really rock with, am I giving them a bunch of money?
Yeah, that's another Well, if it was like a coworker that you're kind of close with, and this exact thing happened, or like, oh shoot, I forgot my wallet. Could you loan me $100? And you're at a casino or something, and then you hit it like this. How much are you giving them then? If it's not a real, like if it's an acquaintance or a casual friend.
I think as a base level, no matter who gives you, even if it's just some random stranger, you do have to give them something back because I think that is the quote unquote moral thing to do. To
Yeah.
like again, if you receive, you have to give. But yeah, I think the relation to the person, and I think in most of our minds, we can only imagine a world in which somebody that we really rock with is even giving us this initial $100. So I think that's why. I think in most cases you would get the whatever the amount is. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess for some people there would be a world in which like if the person wins and then the person that gave them the initial money kind of acting funny, maybe they would decide, okay, you get nothing at all. Which, I mean, that's it, within their legal right. I mean, that is their money, but
That's
you
actually
you will
crazy.
definitely ruin a relationship.
Imagine doing that, and then you pull up to the office. This is your coworker. You pull up to the office the next day. It's some expensive ass car. Oh, get my new Benz and I 50,000. You give the other person their $100 back, and they don't get a penny extra. That you low key might make an enemy.
You know what's crazy? I think that would be a slap in the face for a lot of people if you only give the initial $100 back. Like at that point, don't give me nothing.
Yeah, that if I was in that scenario,
Exactly. What
I
would
would feel
the
that way.
practically split?
I would like that's the technically just thing, but I would be pissed. Like you could give me 1,000, and I'm like you a little cheap, but that's all right. But if you give me the 100, just the 100 back, nah, I ain't fuck with you.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. To be honest, I don't think I would really think about it too much.
But it's
If
not
it
even
did
it's
happen.
the principle of it. Like you're not gonna. It's the right thing to do.
I don't think I would
I
be
don't
too
know.
pressed about it.
Yeah. Yeah. At least you didn't lose anything in that scenario.
Exactly. Exactly. Just
I don't
another
know.
day. I'm just
You
going.
say
Nothing.
you
Nothing
say
happened.
that, but I if this happened for us, which it would, but if you loan me $100 and I walk out of a casino with 50,000, I only give you 100 back. You telling me you wouldn't look at me any type of way?
No, I'm
For
not
sure.
saying
Uh,
I'm not saying we
For
wouldn't
sure.
look at
Like,
it's
you.
the principle, bro. It's
I'm not
like
saying
you're that cheap. You're
I'm not
that
saying we
low.
wouldn't, or I wouldn't look at you differently. Again, I'm of the belief of like, if your mindset is to only give me back the $100, I would damn near be comfortable or just as in the same position as don't give me back anything.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like you said, if you only did give me back $100, then nothing changed for me. Like life just this event basically didn't happen,
I
I
which is
think
get
what it
you
it.
know
is.
what. To
I
be
get
honest,
it, but it's like
to
go
be
ahead.
100% honest, I think the scriptures really help with this particular thing. Where it's
Yeah.
like when I think about giving and receiving and things like that, I truly like if it was a position where they only gave me the $100 back, like I'm thinking more from the perspective of, all right, uh, today I didn't get something. Lord willing, I get something. Lord willing, something come through for me in XYZ way later on. Like I'm not stressing about this. Like I'm definitely not gonna start stressing about this.
Yeah, it's kind of corny, but
It's not
I
about
agree.
I get it. It's just for me. It's not even about like. It's really not about the money. It's just about the fact that like if this was us and one of us did this, it would kind of signal to me like, okay, this person's kind of a selfish person,
Mm.
and
Mm.
I would that wouldn't necessarily mean like I'd be mad at them or I'd be like trying to you're only giving me, but it just in my mind I would be like I would look at you differently.
Yeah, yeah, I got you.
That makes sense. So yeah, moral of the story is be mindful of the people that you are loaning and or getting loans from. But also don't always think about in terms of you need to get your get back right away. Sometimes things come later down the line, or whatever the case may be, or in other ways. But if there's nothing else, we can move on to the next / last topic. Another day in paradise.
is it doing this?
So, speak of gambling, gambler. I don't know if you heard about this, but
There's no way,
an
bro.
article recently went out. Dave and Buster's will begin allowing customers to bet on arcade games. And there's a quote. I guess you can maybe click that link, maybe. Huh? Maybe don't click that link. Isn't this like NBC or something like that? That's crazy. Anyway, so go back to Twitter. Customers can soon make friendly $5 wagers on Hot Shots basketball game, a bet on skee ball competition, or another arcade game. So we've all been to arcade style type restaurants or venues. Dave and Buster's is an example. I'm never gonna forget our outing to this. I think I forget the name of that place, but we went to this place in Atlanta. That was very entertaining. And more than that, I won't forget the fact that I think there was like a weird altercation that at least I noticed where people were like being a bit like disruptive towards what we were doing. But anyway, that aside, yeah. So we've all been to venues like this, and we've all participated in the actual arcade games. But have you ever been paying attention to somebody else playing a game and thought, "Hey, I might bet on that"? Well, allegedly, in the future, you might be able to at Dave & Buster's. And the thing is, I feel as if in this day and age, it's not even that big of a not that big of a deal, but that like it doesn't surprise me because I just feel as if like now that like it's way more legal to do sports betting more than it ever has. That just kind of in my mind like opened the floodgates for like there's gonna be betting on things, legal betting, a lot of betting on things that weren't previously. At least in my mind. That's why while I'm not shocked at this, I did want to hear y'all perspectives on this. And I guess this is not anything to super get too deep into either, but do y'all think that this is an idea, a positive or a quote unquote good idea? I guess for business and for like the customers, like to bet on what seems like random stoners playing the games. And would y'all participate? Sorry with you, Ace. What do you think?
Wait, so you interpret this as people can bet on people winning, not necessarily betting on themselves winning?
Yeah, I definitely interpret it as betting on other people playing, but
Yo,
I
that's
guess
crazy.
does that? I guess because you're not looking at the actual article. I guess which you gotta read the article. Let me see if I can find the article. But yeah, I guess based on how I was looking at it, maybe we can change it up if find more efficient. Yeah, betting on other people. What do you what do you think is a good idea?
No, I think no. I mean, I'm on the fence between being neutral about it and being more negative about it than positive. If it's betting on other people, why would it be? Well, okay, betting on yourself, I think, is it's just a much more normal concept to me. Like something that I would do. Like I would be.
I
more
think
than
the
open
reason
to
why
it.
it actually might make sense the way you're describing it, because it's betting if you win. I was thinking you can bet if this person will win or lose. Kind of like if
Yo,
you're bet,
you making it
kind
even crazier.
kind of like if when you're betting on like a basketball game,
Yeah, yeah.
like you're betting on the like whether this person
Spread,
will
you,
score high,
Yo,
whether score
imagine
low.
yo,
you're betting if the person's gonna get over a certain score in
yeah,
skee ball, then you place the bet and you're like, yo, I just placed a
yo.
bet on you to do this, and that, and you like heckling them while they're
That's
playing.
probably it. That's
Yeah,
probably
no.
why.
Because I don't want to get I don't
It
want to get
has to be on yourself.
insensitive on here,
It
but
has to
like
be on yourself.
imagine it's like you're trying to bet on the little basketball machine joint, and it's some like 6'5" dude, and he looked like he played like at least D1. Like you're just gonna want to naturally bet more. But if it's like a little kid, I might be like, oh, okay, let me get the over under. He ain't gonna shoot more than 3.
But it's gonna be sabotage. Like you're making a bet, and it looks like you're. Oh wait, actually, this little kid, he's doing a little good. So, and the ball bounces over to you, and you try to like scoot in front of it to block him from getting it to cut off his time. Nah,
I mean,
this
even if
dog.
it wasn't that, people already get like worked up, like extremely worked about their favorite basketball players or whatever not doing well, and like that's people that just on a screen they can't interact with at all. Now you got dudes right in front of you that you can
You
yell
got
at.
people screaming. Damn, you couldn't have hit that last.
Exactly,
Nah.
But that's but we like that goes back to my thing. We've seen like betting has become a bigger thing, and it's a lot of cause a lot of negative interactions. But like imagine like that's gonna bring more people like that energy where like people are getting like animated and exaggerated.
There's gonna be fights.
Violent.
There's going to be fights.
What do you
There's going to be
mean?
fights the very first day they implement that.
Violent.
Listen, they already have betting for like literal sports, and people get by just fine.
I think the distinction, and not that it's a healthy one, is that when people bet on sports and they bet on players like props and stuff, they kind of take the human element out of it, and it becomes you're betting on a thing, and you bet on the thing being a person to score over X amount of points, or the thing being a team. And people don't look at those players as human once they make that choice, and then they get wrapped up in it, and it's like they're thinking it's like a simulation when it's really truly not. And I think that's why it'd be kind of different for that, and that's kind of how athletes get classified sometimes once you become an athlete versus some random Joe Schmo who's kind of have some fun at the skee ball thing, where it could easily become that, but it's a lot harder to look at someone in jeans and say, oh yeah, this is actually a person that I shouldn't be abusing if they lost me money.
Or now people start thinking you lost on purpose, like
Yo, like you had a side bet, you sabotage. Yo, can you imagine? Like someone's running a scam where they start off and they're really good, and then they purposely bet against themselves on bad odds.
not good.
I mean, y'all are right. Sorry, I'm just kind of fixing something here. Y'all are pretty much right. But I mean, as we've seen, what's the homeboy? Porter? Like
It felt like Jonte Porter. Oh my
as we've
God.
seen, like that can
Oh
occur.
my
That can
God.
occur in the betting like you're talking about too. So I mean, that's always an element of like there can be some level of sabotage or like people like having just people doing deceitful stuff to get their bets up. I think, and I read this bit of the article that H just pulled up. One, they are using like an app to do it, which it would have always been an app, but it's not. I don't think it's directly like, hey, literally like two people are playing the skee ball and we're trying to see who would win. And then you can like throw your 5 in the A. Let me get 5 on the girl. It's not directly 1-to-1 to that. It is like using like a betting technology to actually like bet on different arcade games. And also through reading the article, and I can read a bit of it now. Ironically, I think it does lend closer to what you were describing, Ace. It would still be for the more skill based games, but I think it does seem like you're betting on yourself. Which I mean, that's still like there's still area for like or you're not bet. Sorry, you're betting if you like play with friends or whatever the case may be.
I still don't co-sign that, because if you're playing with friends, that's fine. But if you can do it with randoms, you're gonna have people. If y'all are side by side at the basketball shooting thing, you're gonna have people trying to sabotage you and knock the ball out your hands when you're trying to shoot. Like it's gonna turn into something crazy, knowing how competitive people are.
Yeah, when they say friends, they really mean anyone that will actually bet with you. So
yeah,
I mean, but again, if the money is like in some type of like not remote wallet, but if it's on like some Dave and Buster's wallet that actually isn't like like it's pretend money until people cash out. I mean, I think the potentiality for like any serious issues arising isn't that big of a deal. I know people do get really jammed up when it comes to some of this betting stuff, but I think they're conscious of how it can be dangerous, or how it could go if it really just a bunch of people betting like real time in front of each other. Again, I'm not saying it's the safest system. Again, I think anything when it comes to betting or gambling does have risks, but hey, man, they seem confident that this could bring in more customers, more money, spend more time there, because a lot of people just go to Dave and Buster's, get your food, play a couple games with your friends. And now I can spend some more time there betting on homegirl. She look like she's a little good at the skee ball.
Nah, you gonna turn into a freaking gambling. Nah. I mean, if it's an internal thing and they police it heavily, it would definitely be fun. Like if we were at Dave and Buster's and doing the air hockey, and I got this easy work, light work. Give me 50 on me, and they say I'll match that, and that would be fun. But
Yeah.
I feel like if it's random people, it's way too easy for it to just turn into like just imagine like if you bet $100 on air hockey that you're gonna win with some random and you score the first point. What do you? Well, I know what I'm gonna do. After I score that point and they shoot it across, I'm gonna put my puck right. I'm gonna keep my puck right there and sit on my edge of the table, and I'm gonna camp that entire time until the time runs out and I win easily. Like it's
I mean, it's they say for skill based games, so it has to be for games where like it's quote unquote fair and based off skill.
yeah. I feel like there's way too many avenues that people could take to cheat and to sabotage and to I don't see it.
I think a lot of people would have the thought your process you have, like when it comes to like arcade games, like there's gonna be so many ways to kind of finagle the system, and I get it too, but from what I'm seeing, I'm all for it, man. It reminds me of like when MGM was first coming to the Springfield area, and a bunch of people were making memes about how they should let people come in there and play Uno and play with their house rules and gamble on that. I think since we're in not that I'm with gambling, to be honest, but if we live in a day and age where like you can basically bet on anything, be able to bet on anything. Let's go into Dave and Buster right now. Hey, that guy look like he got a mean 3-point shooter. Let me get 5 on him.
Yo, imagine if they got the fighting games, that would really be where it's at. Bet on different people. Yo, that would be fun.
And to what you were kind of saying earlier, this kind of seemed like it probably happens to some extent. Like people go to Dave and Buster's and they notice that people were just naturally like putting bets on each other or whatever the case may be, and then they just say, "Hey, let's try to monetize it as well."
Yo, low key, even if they don't go forward with this, next time if we do go to Dave and Buster's, we should both bet with each other and bet
Yeah.
on other people because that would be fun as fuck. But we could let them know, but that would be fun as fuck. We 100% have to do that.
Oh my gosh. I guess to keep it super fair, I guess if they really wanted to like make it like super professional, they could get some refs at Dave and Buster.
Oh my god! And then you
Oh
start
my
paying off the rest.
Yeah, getting a technical at Dave and Buster's is crazy.
Put you in timeout. Put you in the
Oh
penalty
my
box.
gosh.
Oh my god! You get ejected when you acted too crazy.
Oh man.
My lord.
My allergies kind of kicking me, but this is crazy. I'm just thinking of all the scenarios.
I want to go to Dave and Buster's now. And this has my mind running crazy. I want to go there now.
I'm trying to think. I mean, we don't want to get too off tangents, but is there any games that you feel that you super excel at, like arcade games wise?
Shoot. I whoop any of y'all in air hockey. I'm very good at the basketball game. Skee ball, not really. What are the other ones they have? I don't think like the ones where you stop it when it goes around in a circle. I don't think those count as skill.
Hell, ain't no skill in
That's
there.
some rigged ass BS.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you would definitely see people like definitely like taking these games serious. That's for sure. Yeah, we'll do a little test trial ourselves and see who really.
You gotta report the results back for science. of course.
Most definitely for research purposes.
Yep. Yeah.
But yeah, I think ultimately, like all things where you imply some level of risk and reward in it, I think there's obviously going to be potential for issues. But again, like I said earlier, I think in this day and age, I think we're seeing the floodgates slowly but surely open. There was a day and age where like sports betting and all these things were damn near illegal, but now you get it right on your app and damn. I feel like I feel as if even kids can get on it. It's just a whole nother discussion. But like the floodgates are open, so like any place where a business, not any place, but I think we will see more and more businesses incorporate some type of like, hey, what's the odds on this? And people trying to find a way. I since we're getting to the close, since we're getting to the end of it, I wonder which group of people would take this the most serious. Who would get the most animated about this type of inclusion? You think black and brown people get the most animated about betting, or is this another?
I don't.
It
think
depends what
so.
type, but I would say we get more animated in general about things.
I'm thinking from a sports fan perspective. I don't necessarily think it's.
You're right. It's not. You're right. It's not race or nationality. It's
Yeah.
region. Man, the New Yorkers and people in New Jersey, they don't mess around when it comes to stuff like that. Yeah.
Them doing this at a Dave and Buster's in New York would be crazy.
Yeah. All the same. There's probably a million more jokes we could make, but I don't think there's too much to cover. If there's nothing else, we can move on. Okay, let me switch something real quick. Okay. Good stuff. I know we mostly focus on the Drake versus Kendrick beef, and again, my apologies. I probably didn't sound the greatest audio-wise, but we made it, and it didn't seem like anything bugged or crashed, or the video might not be all the way there, but we're still grassroots. It don't really matter. Anyway, as we like to do at the end of these podcasts, what, if anything, are we looking forward to? You know what they say about something to look forward to. You guys can come in and just say a bunch of shows.
You already know. We do have me and Ace are planning on going to in June. At
Nice.
least one, Kareem Bailey Ray.
Were there always mad shows happening in our region, and you guys are just getting more into it, or do you think there's just more shows happening near us?
I think there's a little more happening now. I mean, I never went to shows before I graduated because I didn't have time. But I graduated like 2019, then COVID happened, and like the next 2 years were kind of like no shows happening. But
Yeah.
after that, I kind of started going to them consistently. I would say a little more now. I'm going to, I'd say, but
That makes sense to me.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. Like, I didn't start going to shows until 2019, I think. Yeah, and then COVID, and then now because I'm paying more attention to music and trying to go to live shows. I think we all listen to a wide variety of artists, so it's pretty easy to have something happening at least once a month that
Yeah.
I'm potentially interested in.
I'm on record, and maybe not our specific region, but there are certain parts of the states where if you live, there's something to do every night. That's like on the level of like going to a show. Whenever I think of shows that I could have gone to, at the school me and Wes went to, I'm pretty sure And this is not even super long time ago, but like I guess I'm kind of old. They were gonna have a boogie with the hoodie at the school. Oh man.
At Zoomass.
No. We went to Central Connecticut State.
Oh.
Oh, and
How
I
did a
think
boogie go there?
I, first of all, it was like that's what I'm trying to say. It was like a time period where he wasn't as big as he is now. So like, of course you're gonna go to a college if
Oh,
they're paying enough. I think No Name also came to that area too, which
yo,
that's
nah,
that's crazy.
that's
That might it
I
might
I'd be
that might
sick.
have been Amherst, but the point is like if you're in school, uh, that's actually a. I mean, even though what you were saying goes, and a lot of times people that go to schools don't necessarily have the most money unless you are kind of privileged. You do have money when you're in school, but yes, if you go to the right school, uh, you might bump into a show where like an artist that's not super big yet, but they will be big in the future go to. So, but for myself, I think it's the first time I'm mentioning, which doesn't make any sense, but I am taking not my first trip out of the states. Actually, I was saving out of the states before, but I'm going on a trip to Dominican Republic, DR, and it's actually coming up, and I can't wait. So yeah,
Yeah, I'm looking forward to driving you to the airport on.
what's wrong with you? But yeah, obviously it is greatly appreciated, and I guess once that's over and done with, I'll come back here and give a warm review. But thank you as always, you guys, for coming out here and doing this podcast thing. Had a couple technical difficulties in the beginning, but we got it in the end. And we give all the thanks and appreciation to any and all listeners. We greatly appreciate it. Like somehow, some way, some of our videos do get a couple views and do get a couple comments. So salute to that. And I was never mind. I was gonna say like no, never mind. We're gonna keep grinding. That's all I gotta say. And we hope when people listen, we hope that you might gain a perspective, or you might learn something new, like the fact that in the near future, when you go to David Buster's, you might be able to put 5 on it at the skee ball table. Or we just hope that you find it entertaining. But if none of that happened, then all we have to say is be warm and be filled. Thank you.